Alright, this is Nigel. And
this is Jose Diaz.
And this is our commentary for Chaplin's first film, Making a Living.
This film was released
February 2nd.
1914, which is pretty exciting because I was born
World War I.
I was born
I'm not
in
even sure if
February.
World War I had started yet.
I think it started like 1918. The good thing about this, Nigel...
No, it ended in 1918.
Oh, the good thing is this is not a World War I commentary. It's a Charlie Chaplin commentary.
This is the first film footage of Chaplin.
Which is pretty exciting because what I love about just even this beginning part of the film, obviously he's not the tramp, he's not playing the tramp.
Well, the tramp didn't even exist yet.
But if his facial features are still so tramp-esque, and it's almost like watching, especially these earlier Keystones, you could definitely see how it was like they were doomed to me. It was almost like Bruce Banner and the Hulk. Just with the right amount of experimentation, he was bound to morph into this epic character or something.
Well, it's interesting though. I feel like you watch these old Keystones, and a lot of the actors seem stiff, very stiff.
Yeah.
Charlie comes on the screen, and he seems almost current,
Fluid.
as a natural, and although maybe not in this film specifically, but this is his first.
Well,
I like this gag though. This, I'm not a beggar. I don't need your money.
Yeah.
But then he keeps. Yeah.
Which is Tramp-esque, because even though he's a beggar, he's poor, he's a vagabond, he still has this like eloquence about him, as if he's like an upper level homeless guy. Did you notice that?
Well, he's not homeless here. He's playing a news reporter.
Well, the tramp.
Yeah. Oh, just watch. He looks back. He goes, bum.
Did you notice? You guys will have to rewind this. Chaplin's armpits are sweating. Just thought that was.
It was hot. It's L.A., or California, and
these women, they definitely have the typical summer wardrobe right there.
that's Alice Davenport. She's a Keystone regular.
Well, I'll tell you what,
The older woman.
she definitely could have played Mrs. Claus in the movie.
That actress, I don't recall her name, but I don't think she was ever in another Keystone, although I could be wrong.
You know, what I love about Chaplin's characters and something about Chaplin movies is that there's this elegance about him. There's this quirkiness. It's almost like he's cute, but there's still like that. I don't want to say sinister, but almost like that 11-year-old that's a really good kid, but he also has his wild side about him. You know what I'm saying?
Well, this guy's kind of a jerk, this whole...
Yeah.
Actually, in the notes here, it says that, according to Wikipedia, Charlie's character is Edgar English, although I don't ever think they refer to him by name in the movie.
Well, I mean, back then, a lot of these movies, they didn't necessarily go by titles or by names, they just...
Oh, yeah. Well, Max Sennett didn't like, early on, Max Sennett didn't like audiences knowing the character, or the actors' names, because he was worried they would demand more money if they became famous. But Charlie's actually the one who broke that mold, and people demanded to know who this actor was and what his name was.
But what's amazing though, and you notice in a lot of Chaplin films, as they start adding names of characters in the movies, Chaplin very rarely ever really goes by name. He's almost more identified by his characteristic rather than a name.
And this guy here, that's Henry Lehrman, who he's the lead role, and he actually is the director as well.
Which I wonder, was this an early on influence for Chaplin to begin to realize that not only could he star movies, but even begin to direct them?
Yeah.
And you think a lot of these Keystones are just, and all this experience that he's going through are just really foundational for what would later become some of the more solid, the Chaplin that we're familiar with now, the stories or the background. That we're like, this is really the development of Charlie Chaplin.
Henry Lehrman too, he, legendary, like Chaplin and him did not get along well, apparently.
Well, they don't get along in this movie.
Well, yeah, well, this is like, a manifestation of...
how they really feel.
But Charlie, when he got to Keystone, he had wondered if he made a mistake. He didn't know if the films were for him. He wanted to come do movies and then go back to the stage as an international celebrity, international star. So Charlie came to Keystone, and Max Sennett didn't really give him anything to do for a while. He just kind of sat around the studio and walked around, and they finally gave him this movie. And apparently, according to Charlie, his best bits were cut out by Henry Lehrman because of whatever reason, I guess. He was jealous, or I don't know, he didn't think Charlie's little gags that he didn't think were important enough to keep in the movie. So when Charlie saw the movie for the first time, he goes, oh, the best parts I did were cut out.
Well, of course, Charlie ends up always having the last laugh, because how many people are...
Henry Lehrman, big international star.
Fans, yeah. Anybody going to the Henry Lehrman convention this year?
But anybody, it's like, you know, all these trailblazing people are always met with so much hostility and a conflict. You know, nobody ever wanted to listen to them or give their ideas the time of day. You know, it's interesting.
Here we go. That is very, not to cut you off, that is very classic Champ. That's almost like
right there,
the beginning of the Chaplin. And I think that there's something about Chaplin that he can't escape. There's an innocence. There's this likability about him. That there's just something about Chaplin that it carries on throughout his movie career.
This part's great because you can tell this kid is in the movie, but he looks like he's naturally laughing at Charlie.
Now,
like you can see this scene here. I love it because it's reporter wanted and editor.
Now let me ask you a question. Here's the kid in the back with the newspaper, kind of laughing at Chaplin. Remind you of
this part. Look, this part's great though. How many smacks a kid in the face? Boom.
Then of course he trips. But
he did that a lot in the Keystones too. He did that little thing. He put his finger up to his face and which came in City Lights too. He's on the statue.
How about him with the kid in the newspaper getting laughed at by the kid in the newspaper? City Lights as well.
Yeah.
You think about some of these ideas pop. I mean, maybe it was just coincidence.
But all the things that if you watch all the Keystone films, you can see hints of things that would show up in his later movies.
Yeah.
Even as far as King in New York and the later stuff.
Whether they be gags or just little scenes or ideas portrayed in scenes that you kind of see. That's for example. I mean, this is a very popular Chaplin thing. Sitting on something. There's something about the rear end in Charlie Chaplin movies. Like somebody's either going to get hit or sore by the end of the movie in their rear end in a Charlie Chaplin.
What's cool about this film especially is
he's a bum. There it goes again.
Not only this is his first film, but for being someone's first film, he looks pretty natural.
Yeah, he was. The fact of the matter is, Chaplin was born to do this. I mean, look at the gags, like the little cufflinks falling, him taking off the jacket. That's another thing you see in City Lights when he goes to fight. I mean, there's these, and I feel like the beauty about, especially the early Keystones, is Chaplin is discovering himself. Another thing that we talk about a lot when we watch movies, a lot of these aren't necessarily movie sets. They're being filmed in just everyday places around everyday people. By the way, folks, here's 1914 special effects. This would be equivalent to the Avengers in 1914.
But think about this though. This scene is almost 100 years old. But this tells a story that it's relevant. There's Chester Conklin, by the way. This tells a story that's relevant today. A car crash happens, and the first news reporter on the scene doesn't help the guy out of the accident. He wants an interview. He wants an exclusive interview. And a story like this is as timely today as it was back then.
It tells us two things. Americans have always been selfish, and paparazzi have always been annoying. And even in 1914...
This is the inspiration for Lady Gaga.
Yeah,
paparazzi.
This is... Justin Bieber would like this. Doesn't he have controversy now, like punching a...
But look at this. Chester Conklin. He's in this... He worked with Chaplin up until modern times. He's the guy who gets stuck in the factory wheel.
And that's one thing you notice with Chaplin films. He was loyal, or when he found somebody that worked for him, or he have these classic characters that you see in Chaplin films. Frank Man is one of them.
Hank Man.
Hank Man.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
close enough.
Frank, Hank. Listen, I'm Cuban. These American names all sound the same to me.
But I love how Chaplin's screwing over Henry Lehrman in this film, which may not be the reason why he didn't care too much for him.
You know what this reminds me of? Which is the film that's being filmed in the Keystone movie studio where he shows up and kind of just destroys the whole set?
That's a Film Johnny. That's actually my favorite Keystone.
Well, this is kind of funny because he's kind of like messing up the whole news guy's deal. He's kind of like this, like he's a nuisance. But he's a very well-dressed nuisance, I must say. This kind of reminds me of a Western character. And here's this poor girl here.
This house set is used in tons of Keystones too. You'll see a lot of these sets reoccurring more and more often.
Now, for those of you that are watching, notice here in this part of the film, this is obviously a lower quality piece of film here. If you notice from the beginning of the film, it's a little more shaky. in it. Would you say so?
Well, these are really good restorations too. I mean,
and these are all pieced together from different pieces of film that
but
they find.
That's funny.
Typical Chaplin gag.
It's amazing how these people didn't injure themselves.
This is
I'm sure they did.
I think the beauty about these old films is that these guys are doing their own stunts.
Charlie Chaplin just stabbed a cop. It's his first film. He's already stabbed a cop with a knife.
Now,
look at that. All those people are just out and about.
Everyday people.
Doing the everyday people doing their thing.
Hey, circus. But it's him running away. Now, what's amazing, we were talking about a lot of these guys do their own stunts. Charlie Chaplin is actually, Jackie Chan's hero is Charlie Chaplin. And one of the things that Jackie Chan is known for is that he does his own stunts in all of his movies.
Just like Charlie, yeah.
Oh, there he goes.
See, I don't think that sign was supposed to fall off. I think that was a mistake.
Did you kind of see the film cut off there real quick?
Yeah.
But
these restorations are incredible. I mean, these films for so many years were either lost or in terrible quality, and
it was definitely a lot of work to get it.
Yeah, it took 100 years to get these restored back to the way they're supposed to be.
I wonder if that bed was Tempur-Pedic.
But it's safe in the background. Hey, just look at the backgrounds. Like these are all.
And these are probably really the actual offices in the studio.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. They didn't build these sets. These were things that they just.
Look at Chaplin.
You got the story there first. Kissing somebody on the head. How about you see that happen a lot, Charlie? I like this. I like this. Big car accident.
It wasn't even there.
Look at the people in the background just like laughing.
Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know what's amazing? Here they see this, these random actors. These people have no idea who this young kid's about to become.
Well, motion pictures are still a brand new, invention.
Chaplin falling every 5 minutes.
They were new to people. And look, all the people are laughing at him. They're laughing at him because it's... Look, the guy with the mustache.
Here's one thing you notice too. If you notice it, you see this throughout all of Chaplin's career, I believe, is he can't be without his hat. If he starts off the movie with the hat, anytime it falls, he has to have it back up. It's almost like it's like Batman without the cape or something, or I don't know. The guy's going nuts.
How quickly did they print those newspapers? It had to be in like under 5 minutes.
I feel like this film's almost like it's almost a true story of how Chaplin kind of steals the spotlight from this guy here. He can't stand him, and it's like Chaplin's the new guy in the film world. And if you think about this, here's Chaplin. He steals the camera from Henry. And isn't this what really happens? He kind of steals the show from everybody. I wonder if this was a real train. Like these guys are just seeing these guys jump on this train here.
Oh, I'm sure that had to be set up beforehand.